do de do 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 de do 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 de do do ding. Just what was going on with Conor's behavior at the press conference? Hello everybody and welcome back to the channel. To those of you who are new, welcome to the channel. I hope you are all doing well. Hope you're doing better than I was for a while, which is why I haven't posted videos in a while. I've been under the weather. I'm still in this gnarly robe, but I am back and we are going to get through this because this lead up to Conor Porier 3 has been absolutely mad, and if that clip and other stuff that happened during the press conference isn't going to raise questions about whether or not he was drugged up or drunk or whatever the heck the case was, similar to the Khabib interview. We're going to touch on that. There's a lot of other behavior in that press conference and following it, what he said about only knockouts counting, that have really changed my mind about my pick for the fight. I really thought that Conor would probably make the changes necessary and if not win, put up a much better fight against Dustin this time. But there is so much about this particular conference, this lead up, and the stuff that he said afterward that has me thinking he is way off his rocker and he is a different Conor. Because we've actually seen 3 different Conors throughout the years that have very distinct personalities. There's the Conor that we saw come up and he was arrogant and brash, but that just came naturally to him and he was enjoying it and loving every minute of it. Then when he got big, there was the nice guy Conor that was dealing with Cowboy Cerrone and with Dustin the first time. But in between that, we saw him deal with Khabib, and that's where he had a serious rivalry. They absolutely hated each other. And his behavior now is very, very much like it was in the Khabib lead-up. And we're going to see that. I'm going to put some clips up now that have him talking about his opponent, Dustin, and compare that to how he talked about Eddie Alvarez. And we're going to go back to that press conference to look at what some of his brash baselines were before and what they are now, to make the case that he's really just going so overboard in comparison. The way that he acted in the Khabib interview and press conference, and what exactly the reasons are for that and what is playing into him doing this. So let's take a look at these 2 clips first, and then there'll be a few others and we will analyze them. So here's him talking about Eddie Alvarez and then talking about Dustin, and listen to the tone that he uses in both of these.
Yeah, I feel he's damaged goods. I mean, his career, he's been damaged big time, but looking at him, he's aged. He looks a bit gaunt. Yeah, I'm very happy with it, but at the end of the day, we go in there and we fight, and the shots will land regardless of whether he's feeling good or feeling bad, and my shots do damage, and that's it.
He's not in the same stratosphere as me. The man looks disgraceful up here. He looks frail. He looks frail at this weight now. I'm telling you, his head, his body, his frame, his eyes, that weight cut is getting to him. I'm on weight ready to go. There'll be no 155. There'll be nothing free given here. Everything's getting took here.
All right, we can completely see that there is a difference in the tone that he is using. He was insulting Eddie and he's insulting Dustin, but he's just got that edge. He's really pushing it extra hard, the same way that he was in the Khabib conference. And now we're going to take a look at a couple more clips. And this one from the Eddie fight, the Eddie press conference, where he talks about his accomplishments and how he's going to solidify his legacy with the title, and then he talks about his wealth, and we're going to compare that to the way he oh so obnoxiously does it again during this particular one. And another thing that's really, really important, in this press conference, I believe this is the first and only press conference where Conor has worn sunglasses through the entire thing. Now, people can say that's to do a cool persona. He's trying to play the smooth guy, etc. But he's played that a lot of times before, and there's a lot about looking into people's eyes, and there's something to be said for him shielding his eyes, from, sorry about that, guys, from both the audience, from dust. The whole thing just seemed very, very unusual. So that was a big red flag to me, that he was wearing the sunglasses in the first place. But now let's take a look at the way, mink coat and all, he talked about his wealth, etc., etc., his legacy, and compare that to the way he talked right now.
This just puts it even more in stone. That second belt, never been done. No one's even came close. No one's even attempted it. So that's it. My legacy, I'll be immortalized after this one.
I know you're driving around in a Rolls Royce.
2 rolls. The second rolls came. We had 1 rolls custom made, and then the second rolls came today. 1 rolls for each gold belt. I've been just driving around embracing the city. The city has treated me amazingly. I walk out. I'm in my own little spot, and then the spot where they're all staying is empty. The fans are all outside my spot. So they've been showing me a lot of love. I've been driving around, having fun, training, shopping, just living my life, preparing for another contest. This is what I do. It's the Mac life.
My mindset, I'm back on the building sites now. I've a hard hat, a high vis, and 2 hammers in me hands. That's my mindset. I'm not relishing in all me past accomplishments, all the money I've got in me bank, all the Forbes accomplishments, all that. That's all in. I don't care about that. I'm back on the sites in a high vis with 2 hammers on me fucking hands.
Okay, so we can definitely see the contrast. And the first one, he's talking about his Rolls Royces, like he's actually enjoying them. Hey, I've got a second one that's come for 2 belts, because he's going to get the second one from Eddie Alvarez. He's that confident. When he was talking about his legacy being cemented, he was very straightforward, and it seemed to flow very naturally from him. It really seems that he's trying to go overboard, like he needs this persona and he's trying to embody it, and he believes in that visualization, act, conceive, believe, achieve stuff that Luke Rockhold's apparently also into. And now we're going to take a look at his actual trash talking, so to speak, some of the times that he went at the opponent, and look at the differences there and how this again correlates with the Khabib thing and what I think is going to play a major role in this coming up. So let's take a look at when he actually goes at the other guy.
I operate on my time. I operate on my own time, and I'm running early on my time. Suck these big Irish balls. Hey,
Apologize to me.
these big Irish balls all in your face.
It'll be, I think, bigger for the hype.
Don't contradict yourself, Dustin, because the last time we were up here, you were giving it all the large ones, saying, oh, the title means everything. Yeah, here you are up for the bread and the butter, you little fake cunt. It was a fluke win, and I'm going to correct it on Saturday night.
Okay, so I got myself looking a little bit more presentable for the end of this video, and now we are going to get into the nitty-gritty of what all of that says, and what it says also that afterward, Conor McGregor came out and said that only knockouts count. Now, I capped off those videos with a clip where he said Dustin's loss is a fluke, and that was the first time I saw something out of Conor where he was actually in active denial of something that related to a loss. Now, he did get knocked out by Porier afterward, or previously, and so afterward, when he says only knockouts count, he's obviously counting this fight, and I think that's the reason why we're seeing this particular Conor. Now, this is, of course, just my interpretation of the situation and my looking at it, and why are we getting this particular Conor? Well, he's obviously not as angry, he's not as personally invested in hating on Dustin as he was with Khabib. That was a genuine rivalry. They really despised each other. But in this, he was even friendly with Dustin before. Now, I know there was this spate about the money to whatever charity, to his Good Fight Foundation that was supposed to go. And yeah, that stirred the pot a bit. But we really see the tone from Conor has changed significantly. And it's not the old old Conor is back again. It's this third Conor out of the three, this extra venomous Conor that seems to be someone he wants to embody and live through, and so he's pushing it as far and making himself as crazy and intense as possible, and it looks like there's something contrived to it. It looks like he's pushing too far. It looks like an act. It doesn't look like he's really enjoying every minute of it. And I think he made this switch because, well, he knows the first time with Dustin he got into his head and it worked. And the second time he played Mr. Nice Guy and it didn't work. So maybe if he turns into this guy that he used to be, he can once again get into his head, or at least for his own purposes, have the attitude that he needed to have the victory that he needs to have. Because he really does need this victory. It would really take him down a notch if he lost, especially by knockout to Porier twice in a row. So we will see how that pans out. But with his behavior, I don't think it's going to pan out well for him. And it's because of the denial that he's starting to show in his, in his previous fights, the tapping out that he rules out because it's only knockouts, that he called it a fluke. And I honestly don't see him just being the genuine brash Conor that came naturally. This really seems like something that he's putting on. And he put it on with Khabib extra hard and really did live it because he hated Khabib and Khabib hates him. I think they still hate each other, frankly. But with this, it's a bit harder to hate on Dustin. He's calling him a hillbilly and whatnot and saying that he is his wife's husband's wife. That Joe Lee's wife, that was such a reach as far as his trash talk goes to try to get the crowd to chant Joe Lee's wife. But there's some level of his sharpness that's missing, and I think that's because he is too concentrated on playing the character, so that stuff doesn't come as naturally to him when he's just ready to listen and bounce something right off of what the other guy says. I really think Conor has lost an incredible edge because of the way that he is acting at this, and it's for that reason that I'm actually changing my pick. And although I did say I'm kind of with Khabib that if it ends in the first round, it will be Conor, because he does come out really strong, and he had a great first round against Dustin. But Dustin also knows how he's going to come out now, too, and Dustin's going to make his adjustments. But the way they encounter those adjustments, the way they encounter each other after they consider them, it's going to be a big deal and a big difference, because there's something that Conor is not really putting together in the way that he put it together all those other ways for what we remember him for. And this third Conor, I don't know if it'll stick around. I don't know if he'll show himself in another fight like this. We'll see what happens afterward. But I am really, really interested, because we saw, again, these three personalities. That nice guy Conor, the Conor who he was, Conor the brash, arrogant, yet humble at times, the arrogant but real Conor. And then this one is kind of like the venomous, unhinged Conor that plenty of people, for good reason, think he's drugged up or drunk or something else, because that clip I played at the beginning where his mouth is agape, he's staring off into space, licking his lips all the time, that doesn't exactly speak well for just interpreting his overall body language generally. He was always very fidgety, looking around, and of course he had the audience there and he was feeding off of that. But what the heck else could have been going on? How often are they drug testing him? I know he's got so many in a row clean now, but are they even looking for party favors when they're more concerned about performance enhancers? Or do they test for a plethora of substances at once that maybe does or doesn't include that? I don't know. But I do think that if you asked those questions, it wouldn't be inappropriate with the way the guy behaved. So it is going to be interesting. And I would like to know your thoughts. What is Conor's attitude likely to be? Is he going to maintain this persona of the over-the-top venomous Conor if he loses? If he wins, I'm pretty sure he's going to keep this persona if he wins. If he loses, he might double down, but he might do something back to the drawing board. I think it might depend on just how he loses if he loses. But I'd like to know y'all's thoughts. I would like to know what you guys think about whether or not he was on some kind of substances during this whole press conference, just what's with his state of mind, and what you think is going to be Conor's attitude in the upcoming fight. What's going to happen after this if he wins or if he loses? I'd like to know your thoughts, because this particular, what I'm calling a venomous Conor personality, is not like the original really yet brash Conor, and definitely not the nice guy Conor. This is something that we've seen once before in a really cranked up way, and now we're seeing it again, and it really didn't work out for him pretty good the last time. But he tried the opposite, so I guess he's got to try that this time instead of focusing on the skills. Or, well, maybe he is, but this is definitely overshadowing it, especially with what he said. So please put your thoughts in the comments section. If you liked this video and some of the stuff that I had to say made your mind go in a direction where it might have not gone before, then please click the like and subscribe and the notification bell, and you'll get more of me. If you didn't, well, check it out anyway, and maybe I'll be more exciting in the next video, because it only gets better every time. So I will be back on the ball and back to posting as frequently as you guys like to hear from me. Thanks again so much. Appreciate your time as always. Cheers, and I will see you in another video. Bye-bye.